last few years, digital innovation has been the driving force for the banking and the financial institutions, with a focus on customer convenience, accessibility, and system performance. Now, both customers and employees, as well as regulators, are embracing the reliability, the convenience, and the efficiency that comes along with digital financial services. And this has prompted financial institutions to refocus their digital and data transformation initiatives, not only to cope up with the new socially distant reality, but to also tap into a new digitization momentum. Now, welcome to Leaders Code in partnership with IBM, a special series that is going to span across Moneycontrol.com, CNBC TV 18, as well as Forbes India. Today, we're going to take a look at another banking institution which has its own legacy and its own command in the market. All banks have been challenged at various levels over the past 24 months, and they have been able to weather the storm even as they continue to grow. But Canara Bank has been able to demonstrate to the industry, to the clients and the shareholders why it remains one of India's most premier banks even today. With about 300% growth seen in the recent few quarters, Canara Bank has been able to achieve the significant milestone of becoming the country's third largest public sector bank. It has spent about 800 crores on mobile, internet banking and related areas, and plans to spend another 200 crores to enhance customer service as well as engagement. To discuss all of this and the leadership lessons, we have with us the top management of Canara Bank as well as the country head of IBM India. So without any further ado, let me introduce our special guests for today, starting with Mr. L.V. Prabhakar, MD and CEO at Canara Bank, Mr. Debashish Mukherjee, Executive Director, Mr. Satyanarayana Raju, Executive Director, Mr. Brij Mohan Sharma, Executive Director at Canara Bank again. To my right, Mr. Sandeep Patel, Managing Director of IBM India South Asia region. We also have with us Mr. A.V. Rama Rao, the Chief General Manager and Chief Risk Officer at Canara Bank, Mr. S.K. Majumdar, the General Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Canara Bank, Mr. Atul Kumar, General Manager of IT at Canara Bank, and Mr. P.V. Janardhan Rao, who's the General Manager and Chief Technology Officer at Canara Bank. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. Mr. Prabhakar, let me start with you. It's been about 2 years since your amalgamation with Syndicate Bank. What's the experience been like? What are some of the synergies that have come out? Some of the lessons for the industry to adopt, especially at a time now when we're seeing more mergers and consolidation for the financial world?
I think the amalgamation process was very smooth because of 2 reasons. Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, both are incorporated in Karnataka. And both the banks have a significant presence in Karnataka. Syndicate Bank used to have about 800 branches. Canara Bank used to have about 1,000 branches in Karnataka. Culturally, we are same. Customers almost common to us. And technology is also same. So this has given us a very good leverage to complete the amalgamation process in a shortest possible time, that is in 9 months. And during amalgamation, we have taken care about 2 things. One is customer satisfaction, customer grievances, and the other thing is satisfaction of my employees. Generally, people think that after amalgamation, vacancies will come down, opportunities will be less. But in Canara Bank, we proved it different. There are more promotions, more avenues, and customers got more benefits, more limits, more products they could enjoy because of the amalgamation. And really, the synergy effects in Canara Bank after amalgamation of Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank were tremendous. And one thing which I can say is regarding the operating profit, which at the time of amalgamation, which was about 12,800 crores, today it is 23,000 crores. So I am satisfied that we could do justice to the amalgamation and give best customer service during the time of amalgamation also, thanks to technology, which has helped us.
Okay. All right, Mr. Prabhakar, so that brings me to my second question. Since you were talking about managing the merger, completing it within 9 months, and the use of technology in that, how did that help once? And since of course, the merger did take place, how are you using technology on an everyday basis to enhance customer experience?
In Canara Bank, we use technology in each and every aspect. In the sense that during amalgamation, we have relied on technology and we have leveraged the technology. For example, Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank at the time of amalgamation, they are in a lower version of the CBS module, which is our FlexView. However, we have decided to adopt the latest version available in the world, which is 11.8 version. We spent a lot of money on that, but we want to have the best system available in the world. So during migration, because of the 11.8 version, it has helped us a lot to complete the amalgamation process without any problems and without any technical issues. In the day-to-day business activities also, we rely more on technology in Canara Bank. We are very conscious about the downtime, both scheduled and unscheduled. And our downtime is less than 550 minutes, both put together, which is one of the best. And we are also very conscious about the technical declines. Our technical declines are less than 0.75. So, which is again, we see that it's one of the best in the industry. We use technology in liability product side as well as asset product side. Our loan module is available where we can track each and every loan proposal from the time the customer or the borrower logs in and till it is disbursed. So it has helped Canara Bank in leveraging the technology in improving the business. And as you have seen now, the Canara Bank balance sheet is about 18.27 trillion. And credit will grow at 9.77%. So growth based on technology, that is what we believe. And going forward, we have invested and we are going to invest a lot of money in technology so that best customer experience is given. Very soon we are going to launch a mobile app where we are giving about 262 facilities to the customers, which will be one of the finest experience to the customers. Already about 10,000 people are testing using that app, so that before we release it, we want to ensure that after releasing there should not be any glitches.
Okay, so technology-led growth for the bank and of course better customer service thanks to the all-pervasive use of technology at Canara Bank. Mr. Patel, let me come to you on that note because at IBM you have this global perspective of working with banks around the world. Technology is no longer just an option for banks anymore. It's sort of all-pervasive like we were talking about, and it's become a differentiator for banks for the ones that are doing well and the ones perhaps that are lagging behind. What are some of the trends that are emerging in this field that you've observed?
So, I'll talk about 4 key trends. Right? One is along the lines of what Mr. Thakur talked about, which is pervasive digitization in the banking space. And just to give you a couple of data points, I think there's a recent survey I saw that said that over 60% of next-gen millennials today, they are ready to move to a totally digital banking space, and which is giving rise to a lot of newer banking options that people are coming up with. So this is something which it's a phenomenon that's happening now. What that is also leading to is in that digitization. How do you, as Mr. Prabhakar also said about getting to better customer service? How do you get to personalized service? There's another data point that I've seen recently which says that by 2024, about 30% of all banks will be using some form of responsible and relevant personalization in the right way to use it as a competitive differentiation to actually gather more clients and so on. So that whole notion of digital banking and doing it with the end client in mind and customer in mind, that is huge. The second one is we've also seen the whole phenomenon of digital payments that is all over the place. I think India has actually been at the forefront of that. But that is one of the areas also which I think banks need to continue to stay ahead of, because that is going to become more and more pervasive. The third area, which I think becomes a very important underlying factor, is resilient operations. So this is operations where you actually use data analytics, artificial intelligence. There's another data point that I'd seen recently where it was over 50+% it was saying that by a certain point, you will have banks that will be using artificial intelligence and others to actually monitor anti-money laundering kind of functions and others on an ongoing basis. The other thing which is related to that is the security posture, the cyber security posture that banks will have to manage. I think Asia, in the latest cyber threat report and others that have come out, Asia is one of the most attacked, and 70% of those attacks are in banks. So how you actually manage security and fraud prevention and others, that becomes very important. And then the last one, which is, I think we are seeing this phenomenon of this whole being environmentally conscious. So the notion of responsible banking, that is going to become more and more relevant in terms of how are you using your banking operations to both support environmental issues and so on, but also how you are, working with your customers and others so that they actually see you as an environmentally responsible banker in terms of your, whether your lending operations are actually helping to reduce carbon credits and so on. Those are the themes that are coming up, which will have a bearing on technology. So these are sort of four broad themes, which I think we are going to see them become more and more relevant beyond sort of the digitization in banking.
Okay, Mr. Patel, thank you for giving us that macro view, but let me zoom in again to Canara Bank and your financial performance. And that's because after a long period, Canara Bank has been able to declare dividends. So tell us about what went into it, how you were able to improve your performance, and what are the lessons for the industry to take from here?
I can say two things which are mainly responsible for this good performance. First one is the involvement of my staff, from sub-staff level to the top management level. Everyone has contributed, and we have executed the schemes and the strategy very effectively so that the results are visible with minimum efforts. Other point is, after amalgamation, the synergy effect of Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank has resulted in excellent growth. And the most important point is the technology which we are leveraging has also helped us in improving the business. In the last 2 years, if you see the figures, yes, Canara Bank has done very well. Our aim is to take care about our staff and also to take care about our investors. That was our main aim. After 2016-17, Canara Bank and Syndicate Bank have not paid any dividend. So we were very eager and very interested at the earliest possible time
to turn this around.
Turn it around and also to pay the dividend to the investors. So board has approved about 65% dividend, and in the AGM, once it is approved, we will be distributing the dividend to our investors.
Okay, so that's of course commendable that if after all of this gap you've been able to turn around the performance, given the amalgamation also and that huge task that had to be done. But Mr. Raju, on that note, let me ask you about some of the digital trends that are shaping the banking and financial services industry today. Of course, Mr. Patel highlighted some of the emerging trends, but in the digital space specifically, what has been your experience? What are the newer technologies?
Yes, we are all aware that last 2 years, all industries, including the BFSI, have suffered a lot with the COVID-19. But at the same time, other side of the coin, COVID-19 has given us a lot of positive impact on the technology.
Accelerating
those growth and all. Then now, during those last 2 years, customers have started opting for their business transactions. The digital journey they started opting. That has resulted our multiplication of our e-transactions. Our e-transactions are increased from 158 crore in the previous financial year. Yes, to the last year, it has almost touched 244 crore. And our branch walk-ins for cash withdrawals have reduced from 13% to 7.5%.
Okay.
So to give more and more comfort to the customers, we have created one e-passbook, one app that is public apps in App Store. This is the highly rated among the public sector all apps, so that the customer need not come to know about their transactions or any passbook printing and all. At the same time, we also offered an online account opening, that's in Canara Diya, so that with video KYC facility. That has helped the people need not come to the branch, so that they can, if people who wants to open the accounts, they can open on online also. This has resulted in last 1 year, we onboarded almost 5 million new customers, our existing customers, into a mobile banking app.
Okay.
More than 3 million people have opted for internet banking, and more than 6 million people have opted for UPI onboarded. But because the Canara Bank is having 60% of its presence in rural and semi-urban, moving towards the digital,
there is a bigger
India,
challenge.
there is a digital challenge is there. But when we understand that in India, 9 out of 10 people are using the net users, they are using in vernacular language. That has helped us in focusing on those areas, and we started encashing that BEAM QR code. That is in banking sector. So far, it's only private operators are using whatever the private operators are. So far, no bank has taken any initiations, but we have taken a lot of
services in vernacular languages.
And we have started creating that, distributing that QR codes in the rural and semi-urban areas. Last 6 months, we have almost distributed more than 6 lakh QR codes in those areas. It has contributed to the bank for more than 2,000 crores CASA. The turnovers have increased almost 9,000 crores in those accounts because of that QR code action. Then in addition to that, actually we want to go ahead with several initiatives. We have invested in the first year almost 1,035 crores during the amalgamation on the technology. Last year, with the support of the board and our top management, we invested 840 crores. And this year again, we are focusing not only the 200 crores is only for the digital lending, but we are aiming for our capital budgeting is the board has already approved almost 1,400 crores for investing on the technology.
In this financial year?
In this financial year, that is so. So that we are going to invest a lot. That's why we want to take that our actually existing mobile app, it was working with 131 features, which we want to revamp it. We already revamped. We are going to launch very soon on that. So that's we are created. It's a replica of the branch. We are coming out with that app with the 262 features in 11 languages. So 9 vernacular regional languages, English and Hindi, so that we can take care of the people who are dealing with the bank at the rural and semi-urban also.
Yeah, often English, of course, is a hindrance, for everyone to be able to adopt. So that is one of the positive measures. But Mr. Mukherjee, if I could bring you in, what are some of the measures, again, the bank has been taken besides some of the ones that have been outlined so far, to keep pace with these emerging trends in the market?
You see, the digital platforms and IT, they are enablers. But actually, bank's core business is to give advances, take deposits, do other areas of banking like treasury, recovery of bad loans. So, having these enablers in place, and at an increasing pace, these enablers are helping the banking activity. What bank has done so far is basically to increase its business. Now we are at 18.27 lakh crores of business in last March. We have a treasury book of more than 2,83,000 crores, which is a very big book. We have been able to contain our NPAs, slippages. We have been able to recover the non-performing assets in a big way by maintaining on a quarter-to-quarter basis that our slippages should be less than what our recoveries are being made. So that is one thing which we have maintained. The bank has been able to do pretty well so far as for maintaining its capital adequacy and improving it. At present, we are at 14.90% CRAR, and that was possible by way of very successful, capital raising. What we did was during last financial year, we could raise 4,000 crores of 81 bonds, 2,500 by way of QIP, and 2,500 by way of DIP, and all were oversubscribed. So, which was beyond our expectations. So, Canara Bank post-amalgamation has risen to the third position, as you rightly said, amongst the PSBs, and it has happened because of the strengthening of our IT platform, and by doing that, our customer satisfaction has been much better, and that is proven by the fact that our customer complaints have come. So while these are certain benefits which we have gained by way of using our technology, but then the biggest strength of any organization like our bank is of course our employees. We have about 88,000 employees who have jointly and severally contributed towards this. So we see a very bright future for Canara Bank in the days to come.
Perhaps the second largest public sector bank
Yes,
in the near future, Mr. Prabhakar?
Yeah. See, our aim is to have a significant presence in the financial sector.
Which you do.
Yeah. And we want to be a market maker. For example, I don't compare with other banks, but few figures I would like to share with you. Operating profit, when amalgamation has taken place, it was about 12,800 crores. Last before year, it was about 19,600 crores. This year, we will close with about 23,000 crores. And net profit, which used to be after amalgamation per quarter, 406 crores. Today, last quarter, we closed at 1,660 crores. Year as a whole, it was about 5,678 crores. These figures reflect that going forward, Canara Bank will play a significant role in the financial market in India and abroad.
Okay, interesting numbers, and thank you for sharing those. But Mr. Mukherjee, you'd spoken about NPA management, about recoveries and your slippages. What I wanted to ask is how you're using technology to make sure your bad loans stay low and your recovery efforts are maximized.
I will tell you. Our bank has introduced certain applications like Recovery app, wherein we actually record how the branch people are meeting the NPA borrowers. And it has to be recorded, and it goes up the chain, and anybody higher up can see that by opening that app, how each account is being tracked by the branch. So that is one thing which we have done. Secondly, we have done a similar thing with regard to our court cases, the suit filed accounts. There are a huge number of suit filed accounts in any bank. And in our bank of our size, it is in thousands. So we have been able to maintain a database and which can be updated on a nearly real-time basis as to how, what are the progress. Because depending on the progress, we take our next step. So this makes these two apps keep us up to date with regard to our recovery, and that has been done by using IT and digital platforms.
Okay. Mr. Patel, let me actually quickly bring you in on this. Are there some trends emerging in technology which are helping with recoveries, or what are the newer technology trends that banks are using to better their performance all around?
So I think as I mentioned, a lot of these technologies I think have been out there in terms of it's basically as Mr. Mukherjee was saying, encapsulating them in relevant apps where you can actually take action with it. And I think the banks that are making use of some of these emerging and advanced technologies to convert them into actionable apps or actionable solutions that then they can leverage for both getting closer to customers, but more importantly, as Mr. Mukherjee said, how do you drive recoveries and others as well?
Sure. And how important are partnerships? When it comes to leveraging technology, how important are partnerships? What role do they?
I mean, I think we live in a digitally connected ecosystem today. So partnerships are a part of the equation. I mean, whether there are two banks that are amalgamating and coming together, or whether there are technology partners. I mean, any bank, including Canara Bank, they have multitude of technology partners, and all of us have to actually work together to ultimately deliver value to the bank and to the end customer. So I think ecosystem partnerships are a way that are going to become, a differentiator and a success factor for anyone and any industry in the world to come.
Mr. Prabhakar, would you agree? Because you as Canara Bank have multiple partnerships with multiple stakeholders. How significant is that to ensure that you're able to deliver this kind of growth sustainably?
See, apart from the partnership, we have our own core internal team. We have a very big IT team, and we have many employees who are very well versed with data mining, artificial intelligence, and also programming also. So we rely on our partners. At the same time, we are also more and more dependent on our own people. So it goes together. And without technology, I think it is very difficult to be a leader in this financial sector. Canara Bank is very active in data mining, in artificial intelligence, and also in cross-selling the products by the help of technology and the database. So going forward, I think we will be using the technology for the benefit of the customer and also how to improve the business. And we will be having more and more partnership with many fintech companies, many new persons who can give us new apps, and also with the young people who are coming out of the technical institutions, whom we want to give a platform so that they can work, they can learn. At the same time, we can also get benefited and we can finance them also.
Good to hear public sector banks saying you're actively looking at fintech partnerships. That's not something we hear. All right, on that note, Mr. Patel and Mr. Prabhakar, we have to thank you both for being with us. The rest of you, I'll request you to stay on so we can continue our conversation. Welcome back to our special show, the Leadership Code, in partnership with IBM, where we're in conversation with the top management of Canara Bank on their leadership lessons. Mr. Brij Sharma, let me come to you on that note, because we've gotten the macro picture. We've gotten how the bank has grown since the amalgamation and otherwise, and we've got some sense of the recovery and NPA management as well. Let me ask you now about specifics. Housing is a big area of growth for the bank as well, and of course is doing well for the industry. How has been the bank's performance there?
The core area of the bank is credit. You see, our credit portfolio is well diversified, where our RAM credit is 57% and the retail credit is 43%. Going forward, we are going to maintain this equation with more inclination towards the retail credit, because our focus is on horizontal expansion with the de-risking of balance sheet. So last year, YOY, we reflected a credit growth of 9.51% in retail portfolio. And in retail too, our more focus is on housing loan, where our YOY growth is 14.77%. So retail credit will continue to be our attraction. For that purpose, last year we have set up 242 retail asset hub, pan India. Now they are well settled. They will be the business drivers in retail credit going forward. So each retail asset hub, they will monitor 40 to 50 branches. So they will be driver not only in ensuring the advance, quantum of advance, but they will also ensure the quality of credit as well as credit discipline. Because we want to ensure credit discipline also, vis-a-vis credit quality and quantum of advance. So going forward, we have given a guidance note of, you can say 12% in the retail credit portfolio and 16% to 18% in the housing portfolio.
% overall for retail and 16 to 18% within that in the housing portfolio. The other area of growth for the country as well has been the small businesses, the MSMEs, the backbone of the economy. But because of the pandemic, there's been some pain, of course, and the businesses have taken time to recover. How has that portfolio performed for Canara Bank, and what kind of growth can we expect going forward?
In MSME, we have given a growth of 9.85% YOY during the last year. But MSME is a difficult vertical. It is struggling. We have also set up, say, 106 SME Sulabh also. But what we observe in SME, you see technology has acquired a dominating presence in the banking industry also. And we are recruiting new people in the banking industry. They are more techno savvy. So they are more connected to technology, but what we have observed that our proximity to the customer has become weaker. So MSME has got a great potential in both formal economy as well as informal economy. But where the need of the hour is to have a more proximity towards the customer, plus there should be end-to-end digital lending solutions. So we are working on that.
Okay. We've spoken about housing, we've spoken about retail strategy, we've spoken about MSME, but overall, now that the economy is coming back from the shock of the pandemic over the last 24 months, what are some of the segments of growth for the bank? If you could give us a more bird's eye view.
You see, as Mr. Sharma has just now told you about the distribution of our credit into RAM and corporate. So RAM is around 57%, 43% is corporate. Now, amongst the corporate, what Canara Bank's strategy is, and we have been maintaining that strategy for quite some time, that we go in for higher rated corporates. And by doing that, as on March, in our books of corporates, we have more than 77% A and above rated accounts. We have given thrust to growth of infrastructure sector in our books, petrochemical sector in our books, hospitality sector, hospitals, health sector, healthcare sectors. So these are our, and NBFC of course. With regard to NBFC, let me again add here that so far as NBFC sector is concerned in our books, out of standard assets, 99% is rated A and above. So it is a book which is very strong right now, NBFC. So this is how we propose to grow. These are the sectors and other sectors as well. But of course, keeping in mind the government thrust on infrastructure, our bank has also increased the infrastructure book during the last 1 year or so.
Okay, so while you're focusing on higher quality, credit, you're also expanding on the infrastructure front, looking at giving larger loans as well. One area, Mr. Sharma, that we haven't touched about is the priority sector loans, specifically in agriculture. How has the performance on that front been?
You see, Government of India monitors the performance of public sector bank on 5 parameters in priority sector. That is priority sector, then there is agriculture, then there is small and marginal farmers, then there is micro enterprises, then the weaker sections. So during the last financial year, Canara Bank is one of the rare banks that has surpassed all the mandated priority sector targets in all the 5 sectors. And our agriculture growth, no shortfall. Okay? We have surpassed all the mandated priority sector targets. And in agriculture, against the stipulated 18%, we have given a growth of 22.77% in agriculture. And you have observed that during COVID-19, agriculture sector was the only silver lining sector because COVID affected rural area less. So our focus was more on agriculture advances. We are going good on agriculture, but going forward, our bank is thinking more on infra lending in agriculture sector. That is our core directions.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Majumdar, let me bring you in on that note and thank you for being patient. To meet some of these ambitions, the kind of growth that the leadership is outlining, what is the capital position of the bank? I know we've talked about how the bank has raised money from QIB, Tier 1 bonds, etc. But how comfortable are you on capital front?
Our bank is very comfortable as far as capital position goes. As you know, as on 31/3/22, our CRAR was 14.90. And that has improved from 13.81 to this position in a year's time. And that was possible because of internal accruals of around 4,450 crores of profit, net of dividend. It is post-payment of dividend. And 9,000 crore, which Mr. Mukherjee said we have raised during the year in the form of QIP, 81 bonds and Tier 2 bonds. So this 14.90% of capital CRAR, which is the capital adequacy, it gives us enough headroom to grow the business in the medium term. And with the economic activity going back to normal, that is almost to pre-COVID levels, we expect the business to grow many-fold this year, and so is the profit, which will add to the capital and will provide adequate capital for the growth. Having said that, Mr. Mukherjee has also touched upon the good quality assets. We are also not only raising capital, we are conserving capital also by giving high quality loans. Like above 25 crore, the percentage of A and above has reached 77% from 65%, which has reflected in lower risk weighted asset, which has come down from 78.5 a year ago to 72.63, which is actually a big capital conservation source for us. We are also, because this year we expect a very good growth in credit, so we are going to the board for raising further growth capital also maybe in the June board meeting, where we are proposing say around 9,000 crores of capital, which will be raised as a mix of AT1 bond and Tier 2 bonds. We are not going for any equity. So with this, I think it will be enough for us to grow as targeted.
So you don't need equity capital as of now?
Not now. We are very confident that because internal accrual should be sufficient to do that.
Okay, before we move back to the technology aspect, Mr. Mukherjee, time and again, I think everyone from the leadership team has highlighted how employees and people have been at the center of the transformation, at the center of the initiatives. What are some of the initiatives you have taken at a group level that differentiate Canara Bank from the others in the pack?
As I was saying, that for us, the management of Canara Bank, the people constitute we consider them as the best resource available to the bank. Now, this 88,000 people, during COVID time, bank had come out with lot of schemes, including work from home, as well as giving them benefits with regard to people affected with COVID-19. So we had brought out an insurance scheme wherein, in case of any casualty, the concerned person would get as much as 20 lakhs. That is the highest which we had stipulated at that point of time. God had been kind and very less casualties happened. It did not cross 200 last year. So that was one initiative which we had taken. We had, during COVID time, we had brought out another scheme wherein to facilitate quicker hospitalization, we used to give them at least 1 lakh advance money. So that also helped a lot of people who suffered from COVID. Now, moving further, what we have done for our people during the COVID time, that had given us a very good opportunity to propagate and to develop our e-learning platform. Now, prior to this, we were mostly depending on physical physical learning. That is, the training programs were physical. Now, this had given us a lot of opportunity to develop that e-learning platform. So, Canara Bank brought out an app called Candle, CANDLE, which is basically a learning app, and which it can be accessed by anybody from their laptops or iPads, and that gave a very good platform for younger people, because you see, as in most of the PSBs, in our case also, the percentage of younger population, younger employees is increasing day by day. We are getting younger employees. So for them to develop themselves, it becomes necessary that they develop their knowledge as well, learning and skills. So that was one thing which we did. We also used technology, again coming back to technology in HR. We used technology to make our control and HR management much more efficient by developing our HRMS package. HRMS package is capturing the full database of all our employees, including their various TA bills, this, that, leave. So this has we have developed it in a big way. Recently, we have, during last financial year, there was one initiative which was Go Green initiative, so far as HR was concerned. The HR could develop more than 100 the activities or events which were before that done manually into into platforms, so that those 100 activities we could convert from physically to electronically. So these are certain initiatives which we have taken. Another very important thing which I would like to tell you is our manpower planning. Now, in our bank, what we have planned is we have selected 8 or 9 important jobs like credit, foreign exchange, treasury, etc., etc. And for them, for each of these job families, we have identified at least 3 people who, if there is a retirement happening, they can take over the leadership role. So no vacuum, grooming them. So this is what initiatives which we have done.
Okay, you spoke a lot about technology. Let's further segue into that. What are some of the new age technologies that the bank is adopting, whether it is AI, blockchain, cloud, etc., that are helping this kind of transformation?
So we are using even blockchain, for multiple other purposes. I'll give you some example. We recently tested our IMPS recon system along with NPCI using blockchain technology, which is one of the state-of-the-art technology which is recently used. The only difference here in blockchain kind of technology is that it requires a proper ecosystem to be built. So you cannot use a blockchain technology on your own because it is distributed processing. Whereas I find that in cloud, we are doing really well. Cloud adoption is very good in our bank. For example, we have something known as Power BI, which is nothing but a Microsoft cloud-based platform. This is a data warehouse platform where we have developed more than 14 dashboards. So for digital, for business, even for customer segmentation, for example, a regional head who is controlling say 50, 60 branches, he has to just go through those dashboards and he can review on a mobile. Just these are available on the fly. You can access it on mobile or a laptop or a desktop or an iPad. So they are omni-channel products. So you will be able to use them immediately and get all the details about that particular branch if you are visiting those branches. So these are very effective tools for better decision making as far as blockchain is concerned.
And what have been some of the challenges in adopting them?
The challenges are multifold. One is, of course, the knowledge part of it. And the second is the awareness part of it. So for doing that, what we have tried to do is, there are 2 types of distant learning. One is what we are doing, we are trying to do a lot of podcasts and all, whereby, our people can hear us, that webcast, podcast, so that they understand that what kind of technologies and how it is used. We are also launched quizzes. The quizzes make them aware. They answer the questions. We say that if you answer them correctly, then you will be given some prize. So that also has, empowered us a lot. And we find that, just more than 14,000 participants we found in one of the quiz which we conducted for our digital awareness program. So yes, these are new technologies, but I think with more and more awareness, we feel that particularly cloud-based, a lot of platforms are coming. I just gave you an example. Even our digital lending is going to be on completely private cloud. We are tying up with Karnataka government on adoption of some blockchain technology using for procurement. So a lot of initiatives are there using blockchain and cloud. And I feel this is what the future lies in.
Okay, blockchain and cloud is where the future lies in. Mr. Rao, if you could come in on this, on what role it plays in assisting the sector overall, if you had some sense in meeting some of the changing customer expectations.
So a lot of customer expectation is addressed in our technology. So we have done way back, we have done customer related requirements like for direct crediting of 0.5% to a senior citizen without coming to the branch. You can just, you need not worry on the day of doing the EOD itself, system will automatically credit 0.5% to the customer. Way back we have done. And when RBI has come out with the customer protection guidelines, so we are the, I think we are the first bank to introduce the this one, like if a customer feels that a transaction is not done by him, he can send a message saying that suspect 256161, which will block all the accounts related to that particular mobile number. So these are some of the customer centric. Beyond that, we have been doing many customer centric this thing for in that taking care of the technology aspects, like as our VD sir has told about the new mobile banking app which is going to take care, and even we are going to come out with our new internet banking facilities, and also API banking, which is going to be for companies and other things. We can directly relate it to the ERP solution of those companies with our direct CBS.
In addition to that, what we are told, the QR code and mobile revamping and all.
Yeah.
We also has provided a single nodal agency account. That software we has been created. It's under the IBM platform to the central government 150 schemes. And we are the first banker who created the software and that successfully integrated with the central government.
I see.
And we gathered almost 2,75,000 child accounts so far in that linked with this agency accounts. And we could garner almost more than 13,000 crores CASA in this.
Okay.
In addition, now the central government has come out with central nodal agency also. That is also we are in advanced stage, and we are going to do that. And next is the digital lending.
I see. Okay, when we speak about all of these things, digital, and Mr. Rao, let me bring you in finally on this as well. Data privacy, data security concerns for customers, how are those being addressed by Canara Bank?
Yeah, first of all, madam, here 3 parts. One is our employees side, having the knowledge. Second is the infrastructure providers, it may be IBM or whatever, whoever is providing the security features inside it. And the other side users are the consumers. So for consumers, we regularly provide either in social media or on our website about the awareness, either on password or whatever changes are happening or whatever hackers issues are happening, whatever spam things are happening. We'll continuously provide the educative series. Similarly, as our colleagues have mentioned, even employees also, we keep them learning. It's a regular habit on digital products.
Continuously upgrading their skills also.
And also, whenever we take the new either software or the hardware, what are the security features? And we have a strong SOC center, security operating center, headed by CISO, who takes care. All clearances will be given by us before moving to any new product or any new technology that are well built. In addition to that, whatever government or Reserve Bank of India provides, those security aspects we take care from continuously on time-to-time basis.
And of course, customer awareness is important because that is the weakest link in the chain.
Yes, but we do regularly do it. And whatever, either through podcasts or on social apps or on the
podcasts also. Okay.
Yes. Our employees also are doing, and also customers, and also on the TVs. In fact, we, as part of our employee engagement last year, in fact, on cyber security, our own employees have acted a movie.
Okay.
Yes, and we have put in
an internal movie for education purposes.
And but in social media, we have put it. It's for customers also.
Oh, okay, wonderful. That's good to hear. But before we wrap up, Mr. Atul Kumar, again, some final thoughts from you. Because after COVID, how has technology helped banks become more resilient? I think it was a shocker suddenly when the pandemic hit, and they had to, quickly up their game to be prepared for what is ahead. But now, with 2 years of experience behind them, how can they ensure that they're resilient to any future shocks?
Yeah. So COVID really helped us to augment our delivery channels. People stopped going to branches. So naturally, the transactions was more in ATMs, internet banking, mobile channels. And that is why you will see that our growth of channels is like internet banking has grown by 48%. UPI has grown by 43%. The internet banking, mobile banking has grown by 48%. And internet banking around 30%. So every channel has started growing in a big way. And the resilience as far as the capacity planning is concerned. So what we had done was during this COVID period, we just saw, as you know, these all high-end servers which we use, like P-series servers, they always have multiple cores which are available as part of the deliverables. So whenever we required, we could augment those cores and it will take care of more load. So we could see that all the transactions pass through without the load increased multifold. And that preparedness help us even now. So whatever has happened earlier, now the footprint has also increased in the branch. We still love cash, and that is why we have some 12,000 plus ATMs and cash recyclers as well. So we are also planning to put more and more cash recyclers, so that we want to prevent people from going to the branches for just cash deposits. So recycler also is going to help in that way. So the entire ecosystem of our technology is built in such a way that it is scalable, highly scalable, and it gives us the confidence to operate 24/7, particularly the delivery channels, and then coupled with all kind of awareness exercises which we continuously do to ensure that our customers as well as our internal staff are also trained on various technologies and they understand the systems quite well.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, all of you gentlemen, for being here and for taking time out. On that note, I thank all of you for being here, and we have to wrap up this special discussion. Thank you so much for watching.